Welcome to another brilliant sport and lifestyle biz here on your real feel-good radio, UK Health Radio. Well, we have a couple of amazing interviews this week. We have a Spanish football special, a foot plan special, two female professional footballers, one interview from last year that has been requested so many times we're playing it again, and also a recent one from another Spanish giant. It's ONA BATLLE from Manchester United and VICKY Losada, now of AS Roma. Throw in our SLB Sports Roundup and we know you'll enjoy the show. Well everyone, this week I'm joined by a Manchester United and Spanish superstar. It's ONA BATLLE. How are you, ONA?
Hi, how are you? So glad to be here with you.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure that you're joining us. Thank you for doing the interview. We have a lot of young girls that listen to the show and they all look up to you as a footballer. So thank you so much again.
No, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. So we'll go back right to the start. You've already achieved a lot at just the age of 22. But can you tell us how it started and when did you realise you had a love for football?
Well, when I was younger, I was always playing with my brother. So he was a football player.
Yeah.
And then I just said to my mom, I want to be like my brother. So she just said to me, yeah, of course, like whatever you want. So then at 6 years old, I started to play football.
Wow. That's obviously very early. And it's not surprising about your brother. I've interviewed a few footballers, female footballers, and a lot of them actually did grow up playing with their brother. It got them interested in the game.
Yeah, of course, it's nice. And I really enjoy still now playing with my brother, always when we can. Yeah. We just keep playing. It's just funny. He's so good. He's quite good, so it's always competitive.
It's good competition.
Yes, and both we are competitive persons, so yeah. It's always nice. It's funny.
We will come back to this, but you can just tell from how you play. I've seen you live and I've also seen you on television. How competitive you are. It really does come out in your game.
Yes, I really want to win every single thing, anything in the life and in the game, of course. All the people, I think, in the games, sometimes it's the same as real life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, as I said, you're fantastic. When you were growing up and when you started to play, obviously your brother was an inspiration to you, but did you have any other inspirations, either in football or outside of football?
Well, when I was young, I liked Barca, so I used to go to Barca games, and I always liked Dani Alves as a fullback. I think for me it's the best fullback ever. So I was keep watching him doing or trying to do what he was doing. So he was my idol, we can say. Yeah,
lovely. And obviously you followed him into the position. Is that the reason that you chose to become a fullback or a defender? When I know from my experience with young girls, if you ask what they want to do, they pretty much all want to score goals. Is it the fact that Dani Alves, did he make you decide to become a defender?
Yes, I think I just wanted to be defender, but I like to be offensive defender. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think he's one of the reasons that I'm a fullback.
Yeah, and you can attack obviously from that position. Do you see yourself as that being your final position? When I've seen you play, I can see you play perhaps higher up the pitch in midfield, or do you think you'll always stay as a defender?
Well, I like to be in the wide side, I could say. I would like to play as well as a winger, for example. Yeah. But I like to be fullback because I can defend, but I can attack as well.
Yeah, it gives you both options, doesn't it? As a fullback, you get the joy of stopping people scoring, but then you have the opportunity to go and create or even score yourself.
Of course, that's the most important thing as a fullback, as a defender, to defend, of course. But I think the present football, it's about, the fullbacks nowadays.
Yeah.
They are more offensive.
Yeah.
So I really like this kind of football now. So I really enjoy to attack as well.
Yeah, fantastic. You're right. Football used to be, if you're a defender, you defended. And now it's more how you can defend, but also how you can attack. So it suits you perfectly.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So we'll go back to obviously as you were getting started, and in the UK you've probably already know and have realised that it's difficult sometimes for girls because there's not that many opportunities around. How was it in Spain? Was it quite easy for you to find a girls team, or did you have to play with the boys?
Well, to be honest, when I was young, when I just started, I had to play with boys as well.
Yeah.
Because in my town, we didn't have female football, so I just had to play with boys. But I think that was kind of good for me, because sometimes just play with boys gets you more aggressive, or you have to be in the same level. We can say the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be at obviously their aggression level, but sometimes it drives you a bit more if they, for some reason, won't pass to you as a girl. So yeah, it probably actually helps you at an early stage.
Yeah, but then, for example, I had few problems as well, because I couldn't be, of course, in the same changing room. You know what I mean? I always had to be there. Yeah, but it was the first 4 years, I think. Then we get female group.
Right, okay.
So when I was growing up, it was just everyone was at the same level as me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so obviously a couple of issues, obviously, with the changing and that, but pretty much it helped. Then in 2011, at just the age of 12, you signed for Barcelona Academy. I mean, what an achievement that was. How did you feel when you got accepted by them?
To be honest, it was like a dream to be part of Barcelona, because, of course, as I said, I was always watching Barca games with my family as well. So I was like dreaming, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, amazing. And obviously the new camp is such a stadium as well. I've only been in the new camp when it's been empty. I've done a tour of the new camp with my children, and it's just amazing, even when it's empty.
Yeah, it's so nice to be there.
Yeah, fantastic. So you spent 3 years in their youth team and stayed with their main squad for another 3 years until 2017. So you had sort of 6 years with them. How was your experience there, and has it been this experience that has set you up for being such a good player at such a young age?
I think, well, as I am now, it's what I learned since I was young, you know what I mean? Like, when I was there, I just loved the play, how we played, how we teach you how to play, you know? So it was a fantastic moment, because, of course, I was with my friends. I have still a lot of friends from Barcelona. Yeah, I think it was one of the best things that I could live.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a, well, it's a huge club, isn't it? It's a massive club. Obviously, great times. You got to spend 6 years there. But then you made the short move to the capital to play for Madrid. You made 28 appearances for them. How was life in Madrid? And although a lot of people who don't know make out the clubs are so different, were the cultures inside the club, were they similar, or were they actually quite different?
It was quite different, because, for example, I went to Madrid playing everything with Barca B, we say, like in the young team. And of course, we were winning everything. It was such a change, because in Madrid, it was my first league team. It was my first year in Liga Iberdrola.
Yes. In
the first league. So it was different, because that year, for example, I didn't win everything. So it was like restarted, a different philosophy, of course, because it was not always with the ball as in Barca we wanted to play. So it was just different things, and I've learned a lot about that as well.
Yeah, so obviously it grew you as a player as well, as you've said. But then in 2018, you moved to another part of Spain and you signed for Levante. Was that a reason to get more game time, or was it because you thought you would improve more as of a player?
Well, Levante came with a really good project, with really good people going to Levante. Yeah. We wanted to do a big step with Levante. So I just thought it was the right moment to move to a bigger club, to grow up as a player, of course. It was a really good chance to play with persons like Ruth Garcia, Mata Corredera, Sonia Bermudez at that moment.
So it was a fantastic time, and it obviously worked. You're a defender, but you made 39 appearances in 2 years and you scored 3 goals. Obviously, keeping a clean sheet is your highest importance, as you've already said. Being a defender, you have to defend. But what's it like to score a goal?
As I said, I really enjoy when I'm attacking. I had the pleasure. I was with a really good team, so I just wanted to enjoy that part of attacking. So I just enjoyed it, and it was so nice to help the team scoring, of course.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we'll move on to 2020 now. After your time at Levante, you moved to Manchester United. I'm guessing an opportunity like that couldn't be turned down. How have you found the pressures of playing for Manchester United, as you'd already dealt with that for playing for the two biggest clubs in Spain?
Well, it was a really different challenge to come to Manchester United. Of course, as you said, the pressure, like how big is this club? You can feel it just when you already come here. But I don't really feel the pressure. I just feel it's a pleasure to play in such a club like Manchester United.
Yeah, and if I could just say, it does show, because you settled, or it looks like you settled in so quickly and so well. If there was any added pressure, you certainly didn't show it. You've been amazing from day one that you've joined.
Thank you. But to be honest, last year was a little bit hard to live in UK just because of COVID. I always say it was one of the harder year in my life just because of COVID. It was hard. No one could come to see me, and I couldn't go to Spain as well because of the flights, of COVID and all this stuff. So it was quite hard mentally, we could say.
Absolutely, and that brings me on to the question of COVID. People think because you're a footballer that you get everything given to you and you don't suffer like everybody else, but obviously you do. There was a point where you weren't playing matches, then you weren't training as a team, you had to do training on your own or at home, and as you've just said, you were away from your family and your friends and you couldn't go and see them and they couldn't see you. Was that a particularly hard time for you?
Yeah, as I said, it was one of the hardest moments in my life, but I think I really learned about it. I really try to enjoy everything now. I try to just, live the life if I can. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You've taken that and now put it into your future and your present, that you do have to enjoy life to a certain extent. You have to make the most of every day.
Exactly. That's what I would say.
Yeah, perfect. So, staying with COVID, obviously training was slightly less because you had to do it yourself. Did you have to change your diet at all or do anything special at home to keep yourself physically fit?
Sure, I just had to do everything, like trying to do always a routine day by day, even if I was at home. Just doing breakfast, dinner, lunch, everything, and sleeping good as well. I just tried to do everything as I was training, as a normal life.
Yeah, as you said, you obviously had to do your own things. You had to do little things slightly differently. Perhaps the one low point since you've been at Manchester United was the second half of last season, which obviously was affected by COVID. You were top at Christmas of the league. You'd been absolutely outstanding as a team. You'd been outstanding yourself. Sadly, you slipped to fourth place and just missed out on the Champions League. You were hit very hard by injury to key players. Do you think that was the main reason?
Well, it was one of the reasons, but I think we were a little bit unlucky of everything. So, but there will be obstacles and we just, we have to try to just move on. So I think we should do that, but unfortunately we couldn't do it. So hopefully this year we will get it.
Yeah, and that would be good. You come across and you play like you're a strong person, so it seems like you're the sort of person that would take that negative and turn it into a positive as motivation for this season.
Sure. But everyone is just now so focused on every game, and every game is like a final, so we are really positive and we are really as well enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And this season's actually been pretty good. I would even go as far as saying you have been unlucky in a few matches as well this season. Earlier on in the season, there was some games you could have quite easily won and either perhaps a small mistake or even, as I said, bad luck cost you. But you've now got some momentum going. You've gone into third. Do you see the top three as a real possibility for you?
Yeah, sure. We are just focused on if we do what we have to do and we win every game, we will be in the top three. So we just have to keep pushing every day and keep focusing on that.
Yeah, and can quite see it as well. As I said, you're all playing well, and it might well come down to that last game of the season at Chelsea.
Well, we know it's going to be the hardest game that we have, but we still believing on win every game. Even if it's Chelsea, we can beat, I think, any team. So I think we're still there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think you're playing so well at the moment and you've got good momentum and all your good players are pretty much playing well. So that's fantastic to see. And obviously, good luck. And I wish you all the best, obviously, for that.
Thank you.
You've also managed to get yourself a goal for Manchester United. And it was a lovely goal as well. Talk us through your goal.
I know. It was really nice. I really enjoyed it. Well, it was a perfect moment because just that game, my friends were here. So it was like, say to them, like, yeah, that was for them, you know.
Yeah.
It was a really nice weekend. I really enjoyed that goal.
Brilliant. It was great to see the goal. It was a nice goal as well, which is even better. We've touched on pretty much everything domestically, but internationally you've also done really well. You've been capped at every level from under 17 for Spain. 55 caps in all ages, all the way through to the national team. What was it like? How proud were you when you got your first call up and you put on the national kit for the first time?
Well, I think every player wants to play for your national team, so it was a pleasure, and it's still, when I'm called from Spain, it's always pleasure, and I just feel as it was the first one.
Yeah. Fantastic. Absolutely lovely to hear. And you've also had success playing for them. You know, Spain are a very, very good side. You won the UEFA Women's Cup tournament at under 17 and under 19. You finished third in the under 17 Women's World Cup and runners up in the under 21 World Cup. I mean, that must fill you with immense pride, the fact you've done so well for Spain as well.
Of course. And I think I really enjoyed that group as well because I have we are really friends with a lot of people there, and it was a fantastic group and fantastic players that now, for example, some of them are the best of the world, we could say. So I think I really enjoyed when I was in the young teams, and of course I'm enjoying so much when I'm in the national team. I'm trying to learn about everything and about every single person who is around me.
Yeah, fantastic. And just sneak in a quick question. Do you think you have a really good chance in the Euros this year?
Well, we're going to try our best. I think we are doing good so far. So I think we just want to keep doing our game, keep doing our play, and we will go for everything. We want to win every single... We have that mentality. We want to win everything,
Brilliant. I think you've got a great chance, to be honest with you. I think you're an outstanding side and it'd be great to see you do well. So a couple of things, Anna, just before you leave us today. With such great achievements so far, playing for the best teams in the world domestically and one of the best national teams in the world, where do you see yourself and what dreams do you have for the future?
Well, I just want a really person who is always looking on now. And I want to keep proving myself. Of course, I want to play champions, for example, win trophies. But I think the more important thing is just work day by day and just keep improving about everything.
Yeah, fantastic. As you said, keep improving yourself and just shoot for the stars, win as much as you can.
Of course, of course. As I said at the beginning, I'm a really competitive person and I want to win everything.
Fantastic. That's all we can really ask for, you know, as people ourselves, to push ourselves every day.
Of course.
Brilliant. And finally, before you do actually leave us, please could you give some advice and experience for all the young girls that are listening and aspirations they need to become a professional and perhaps anything they need to be wary of at an early age to make it to the elite level?
Well, I think to be a professional footballer, you have to take care of a lot of things, not just play football. For example, you have to recover it, you have to eat good, you have to sleep well. So it's a little details that you can take care of that. And I think with everything and then, of course, working hard, you will get what you want.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And you're right. It is important that you do the right things even from an early age.
Yeah, of course. Like, the most important thing when you are young is enjoy. But yeah, if you want to be a football player, You just have to keep doing, keep improving. And the most important thing, I think, is believe on yourself.
Yeah, believe. Fantastic. Great advice. I'm sad to say for the interview we've come to the end of today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I want to thank you so much and just want to say all the best for you, for Manchester United and for Spain in the summer at the Euros.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Well, everybody, joining me today is Spain superstar footballer. It's Vicky Losada. Hi, Vicky. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Really, really well. We appreciate you giving time up in your busy schedule to give us the interview today. You're a superstar footballer, you play for your country, you play for Manchester City, one of the biggest clubs in the world. If we could start off, Bo, just going back to the start, so the listeners and the girls that are listening get to know a little bit more about you. When you were growing up, how did you find your love for football? Was it instant? And were there good opportunities for girls in Spain?
I mean, definitely was instant. Wherever I go when I was younger, I always bring a ball with me. My brother used to play football, so when I was probably 5-6 years old, I already used to go to watch his games. So it's a football family also, so I think it was in my veins. When I was younger, I think we didn't have as many opportunities as the girls have now. I started playing with boys and I didn't play in a women's football until I was 14 years old, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So a couple of things you pointed out there, Vicky, a couple of great points. You said you had an older brother. Do you think that helped you? We coach a lot of girls and we can tell the younger girls that have got older brothers and sisters that get to play with their older siblings in the garden.
Oh, yeah, definitely, 100%. I used to play with him. A lot of fights, I have to say. Always the youngest get all the blame. But also for me, something that is not happening now is playing on the street. Right. I used to play in the street with the boys and that's not happening now, sadly. I think that's actually something that really helped me to be the player I was after.
Yeah, and you're right, that is very sad. I mean, that's just typical with life, isn't it, sadly? Yeah, you don't see many groups kicking the ball around in the street anymore.
No, it is sad, actually. When I see some, it actually brings me back to my memories, and it was actually one of the best times of my life.
Yeah, you're right, it's a real shame. It's sad that society is like that, but on the other side, whether that's one of the reasons or whether it's just natural progression for women and girls in the world, the opportunities are much better now, which is obviously great to see. People like yourself, I know, give time up as well to pass on advice and coaching of young girls, which is fantastic. You said that at the age of sort of 13, 14 was when you started to play with girls because the opportunities were not so much. And you joined La Masia, which is Barcelona's youth system. How did that occur and what was the experience like?
I used to play, so I started when I was 7 in boys team, and then I moved to a girls team under 14 in Sabadell, which is the little town where I am from.
Yeah.
And then, they always have people watching the girls, and one of the managers from Barca came and they said they wanted to sign me. Sadly for my dad, because he's a Real Madrid supporter.
Oh, crikey.
I did sign for Barca, and it actually was the start of an amazing career at home for me. Barca is my home.
Yeah, and as we'll come on to many times, you've been at the club on and off for such a long time. It clearly is your home, as it were. In 2016, at the age of just 15, you actually made your first team debut, which is unheard of over here. What an achievement, and what was it like making your actual first team debut at such a young age?
I mean, it was actually amazing because now you can see more girls making their debut at that age. Back then, the opportunities I had, they were nothing compared to the, good managers, good infrastructures in the clubs nowadays. Yeah. So for me, it was just amazing how the manager I had back then, it really believed in me. Because to be honest, sometimes in football, you also have to be lucky or have that person that puts the eye on you and says, I'm going to believe in this girl. And it was just amazing. Actually, I think I was 15 and the youngest after me was 19 years old, and I was playing with women that were 30 years old. So it was a great experience for me to grow quicker than probably I would have done going through all the categories before the first team.
Yeah, that gives you obviously first-hand real-life experience, doesn't it? So it really does push you on at an early age.
It does, because I had to work harder. I couldn't say no to anything. I just had to find myself in a group of really old people, and that was the best learning for me.
Brilliant. Again, just going back to a couple of points you made, and a couple of points I'd like to mention on that. First of all, you said it was amazing. The manager had the belief in you, which is obviously always needed. There's a saying that we have, right place, right time. And obviously you were playing in the right place when the Barca scout come to see you. But all in all, it's still down to you to show that desire, that ability, that hunger for them to put you into the first team at that tender age.
I mean, I always had the talent.
Yeah.
That is something that I think I was born with. But you also have to develop that. And then you have to have also hard work every day. Passion for me is really important. You have to have passion, because that is what is going to show you the way all the time. Because sometimes it's not always nice in football, in sports. There's always hard moments, but you have to keep doing the things you do every day and being disciplined. And I think back then I had really difficult moments. I remember I used to be such a bad defender. I never used to defend because I was very young, so they used to score a lot of goals when I used to lose the ball. But all these things, thanks to the manager also, show me the path, and I'm so lucky that I had that back then.
Yeah, again, brilliant for you, but obviously you did have that talent, as you said, but a good point you make is hard work and passion. Hard work because no work at all gets you nowhere. That will be the first thing that brings you down. But passion, because as you said, it's never always going to be easy, and you need to be passionate about it. If they're hard times, get yourself back up again.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And also, I always say talent without work doesn't get you anywhere. And you can say it now. And I think for me, I was thinking about football every day, every hour, getting back home, watching the men's game, because sadly back then couldn't watch many women's football. And thinking about football, I never had time to meet my friends, really, because I used to train 4 days a week, and then I was traveling on the weekend. And back then also all the travel was in the bus, so it was really, really hard coming back Monday morning, back to school, so it was a lot of dedication.
Absolutely, and obviously with all your schooling as well, it was a very busy schedule.
Yeah, it was, and you have to be disciplined, and I think sometimes also in football you're expecting results quick because you're anxious when you're younger, but I think the work that you do every day, in the end, it pays off 100%. I'm a big believer of that. Yeah,
and you are 100% correct. So obviously, you, as we said, you started off at a very young age in Barcelona. In 2007 was one of your moves away, but that was not triggered because of anything you did. It was because Barcelona actually got relegated and you wanted to stay in the top level. You had an amazing season for Espanyol. You played 24 matches. You scored 3 goals. Do you think that was important to your continuation of the high-level football you were playing, the fact that you actually stayed in the top tier?
It was, as much as I never wanted to go to Espanyol, because it's actually the biggest rival of Barca.
Okay.
But I knew for me, as you know, I was very, very young, and it took me a lot of time to adapt to that level and to kind of have the rhythm of my life. And for me, just going back to a second division, I thought I had to make that effort and just push myself and keep challenging myself and stay in the highest level.
Yeah, again, another good point of your focus and your dedication.
The end made me be successful, I guess.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it better. Absolutely correct. However, your concern about moving to the biggest rival of Barca was actually only for 1 year, because Barcelona got promoted back up to the Primera division, and of course you moved back to them. And that started a time of 7 years at the club. You played 165 times for them and unbelievably scored 47 goals. You know, that's nearly 1 in 3 games. That's absolutely fabulous. I mean, that must make you very proud and something you can look back on with very good times.
Oh, yeah, really good times. And I always, one of my targets also was to be that kind of box-to-box midfielder, but also have an effect in the opponent box.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really easy to play also with girls in Barca because we've been learning from the same style of football for years. And in the end, after 5, 6, 7 years, all that work, it just shows up. And I always say, it's a Spanish expression, maybe in English, I always say we were able to close our eyes and knowing where my teammate was, where the ball was going to go, where the pass was going to go. And that is really nice. You just have to enjoy after that.
It does make the game easy, or easier.
It does.
Yeah,
way easier.
You were talking about being a box-to-box midfielder. Just a couple of quick questions that I can throw at you, Vicky, because for me, the answer isn't always the same. What would you say your best position was on the pitch, and what would you say your favourite one was?
Tricky one, actually, because now that I'm older, I always loved the number 10.
Yeah.
100%. I always like to play between, the opponent back line and their midfielder line, just in that pocket. I love to be in that pocket and on the left side, because I really like to just get my shots on target.
Yeah.
So if you play on the left side, my first touch always was inside, and I always had the goal in my mind. But with the years, in Barca, especially these last years, I really enjoy that position, number 6. That's how we call it in Barca, which is the midfielder that's in front of the two centre-backs.
Yes.
And I think it's really important because you just kind of give the balance to the team. And I think now being older and more experienced, you make better decisions. And I think I really enjoy that position over there.
Yeah, and you're right. Reading the game in that position is very, very important, isn't it? Obviously, and you've got to be able to play both ways. It's a very tricky position, actually.
It is, and when you play for Barca especially, you just have to make sure not just making good decisions, not losing the ball once, because normally we are attacking so high and the counterattacks are really, really dangerous. But as I say again, it was really easy to play with amazing players beside me.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So part of that 7-year stint in 2011, which from looking at it probably started the avalanche of trophies, was the Copa de la Reina, and that was Barcelona's first trophy. You started the game, you won the final. What was it like to win that trophy for such an iconic club?
I think for us that was a before and after, I guess, because the first year I played when I was 15, as you said, we got relegated. So we weren't the best team, which a lot of people would say, what? So we were the last on the table. And I think after that trophy, that Copa de la Reina, we knew where we wanted to get. And after that, it's just been a lot of trophies and also just the mentality of every year being a better team. I think also the club has done really good signing new players, that maybe foreign players from another countries that also were giving us another options. And when you want to play in Europe, you just need a bit of everything.
Absolutely. So do you think the winning 2011 was a combination of things that led to this avalanche of trophies? You went on to win Premier Division 3 or 4 times, 2 more Copa de la Reinas, all in a short space of time. Do you think it was that, with the combination of that added belief and, as you said, signing new players? Was it a combination of everything?
I mean, the new players came later. We were all Spanish players, and I think it was a result of a lot of work, passion, and also really talented players. I have really good memories from the years, like showing really good football. And then the only thing that happened is that we were never able to get through quarterfinals in Champions League, but we still always get into Champions League every single year. So it was always a progress.
Brilliant. So almost the evolution of the team, really, and you just all grew together, and it resulted in 3 league titles and 3 cups.
Oh, yeah. And then after that is when we signed the new players, because there was a target in the club that we wanted to do better in Champions League.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. So before we go on to that, in 2014, you actually had a taste of football in America, which obviously for a long time had been considered the number one, the whole thing for football in the world. You signed for Western New York Flash in the NWSL. First of all, what experience was that, and how did that come about, that move?
In 2014, I already won 5 leagues. And I was 23, and I was already the captain of Barca, and I just felt like the club, believe it or not, it was getting small for me, and I just started feeling a bit comfortable, and I wanted bigger challenges, and the Spanish league wasn't professional. The offer came from USA, and I could say it was a dream, but it wasn't, because sadly for me, I didn't have any role model to look at and say, I want to be a professional player. So I guess I was brave and I took my chance, and I went for everything, and I crossed all the ocean to the other side and far from my family to kind of make my career professional.
Yeah. And was that hard to live away from your family?
It was very hard. It was very hard because I think the 23-year-old that I was is not the same that a 23-year-old nowadays.
Oh, no.
You didn't have internet, you didn't have anywhere to communicate, really. So it was really hard. I didn't speak a word of English, like nothing.
Wow. Yeah, that's very brave then. And taking that into consideration, did you enjoy your time there?
I did enjoy my time there. I think it made me stronger physically and mentally. And then I realized that there was an opportunity and a possibility to be a professional footballer. And I wanted to develop over there, to come back home and say to the girls, listen, you can be a footballer if you want, if you work hard. And back then I would say, maybe you have to leave your country, but now you don't have to, because I'm very happy that women's football is developing the way that it is.
Brilliant, absolutely fabulous. And obviously that did give you another taste of football, but still not satisfied, still wanted a different challenge. You signed for Arsenal in 2015. What was it about the WSL or English football that excited you, and was the challenge that you wanted to take up?
I mean, I enjoy America, but I think the football in Europe is different. And the big Premier League, I mean, everybody knows the Premier League is the best league in the world. And I used to watch games also when I was younger. And just coming here, it was a dream, coming back from Western New York Flash, where I was so happy, and I'm so thankful because they gave me the first opportunity to be a professional footballer. But coming back here and a big club like Arsenal with all the history behind, it was actually a dream. And I actually enjoy it. We won 2 trophies. And
you did.
I have really good memories also from that time in England.
No, that's lovely to hear. As you said, you won 2 trophies in one season, which is fantastic. And the whole WSL and the experience, did it live up to what you were expecting?
I mean, yeah, it was. The Spanish league wasn't professional, so the club was amazing. The training ground was amazing. I came here to 24-hour routine, having breakfast in the training ground with the first team, meeting the guys, having lunch, having training, gym sessions. They're normal things now, but it wasn't back then.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
This is our SLB Sports Roundup featuring golf, horse racing, darts, rugby, motorsport, NBA and football. We start with golf. The PGA Tour held the Valspar Championship using the Copperhead course in Palm Harbor, Florida. It was won by Tyler Moore in a tense finish on -10, 1 shot clear of Adam Schenk, and a further shot back to Jordan Spieth and Tommy Fleetwood, who tied for 3rd. This week it's the Corrales Punta Cana Resort and Club Championship, featuring the Corrales Golf Club in the Dominican Republic. The DP World Tour held the SDC Championship from the St. Francis Links course in South Africa. It was won easily by Matthew Baldwin on -18. 7 shots clear of Ardrey Arnaus on -11, with 3 golfers 1 further back in 3rd on -10, Ewan Ferguson, Christian Johansson and Antoine Rosner. This week, it's the Johnson Workwear Open, using the club course at Stain City. The LPGA are back with the Drive-On Championships from the Superstition Mountain Golf and Country Club in Gold Canyon, Arizona. Horse racing. Well, last week was the Olympics of National Hunt Racing, the Cheltenham Festival. We'd given you 6 favourite selections that we thought were bankers. We got 6 out of 8. Constitution Hill and Galliard de Mesnil romped home like we thought. Delta Work won nicely in the end in the cross-country chase, and Energumene was back to form with a big win in the champion chase. Lossiemouth and Galopin-des-Champs both did us very proud on the Friday in the Triumph Hurdle and the Gold Cup respectively. The 2 that let us down was on the Thursday. Mighty Potter didn't run great in the Turner's Novice Chase, and Shiskin didn't perform in the Ryanair. Other anti-post mentions that one that we'd given you in the past, El Fabiolo in the Arkle, State Man who finished a good second to Constitution Hill in the Champion Hurdle, Correct Rambler in the Ultima, Honeysuckle in an emotional winning the Merse hurdle, signing off her career in a tribute to young 13-year-old Jack de Bromhead, who sadly passed away after a racing accident in the pony field. And then Langadan in the Coral Cup, to name many. Big races now to look forward to. The Dubai World Festival is on this weekend. The Gold Cup we think may go to Siskany for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. And then the Dubai World Cup, the richest race in the world, we think will go to Country Grammar, who finished second in the Saudi Cup. One more big national hunt race for us to focus on, Anti-Post, for you is the Grand National. We've already given you 2 or 3 selections. 2 that we've given you, we still like. Noble Yates and Delta Work. But 2 to add after fantastic runs at the Cheltenham Festival. Corach Rambler and Galliard de Mesnil. On to darts. Week 7 of the Premier League was in Nottingham and won by Welsh wizard Gerwyn Price. He beat Chris Toby 6-4 in the final to take 5 points. Chris Toby taking 3 points. The 2 beaten semi-finalists get 2 points each. Dimitri van der Berg, who lost 6-4 to Gerwyn Price, and Michael van Gerwen, who lost 6-0 to Chris Doby. The table reads after 7 weeks. Michael van Gerwen way out in front on 22 points. Gerwyn Price second now on 13. Michael Smith third on 12. And Nathan Aspinall fourth on 11. Week 8 this week is held in Newcastle. On to rugby, and it was the final week of the Six Nations, and Ireland did it. They beat England to win the Grand Slam. 5 games, 5 wins. Although it was close until a controversial sending off for England's fullback. But Ireland ran out ready winners 29-16. France destroyed Wales 41-28. And Scotland overcame a spirited Italian team 26-14. So Ireland win the Six Nations and they get the Grand Slam, 27 points. France are second on 20, Scotland third on 15. Motorsport, and we've just got 2 big genres to talk to you about this week. It's NASCAR, who held the folds of ONA Quick Trip 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It was won by Joey Logano in his Ford Mustang for Team Penske. Second place, Brad Keselowski, also Ford Mustang for RFK Racing. And Christopher Bell gained third in his Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. This week, it's the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix from the Circuit of the Americas. Formula 1 held round 2, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. We expected it to be a Max Verstappen walk in the park, but due to a broken drive shaft in qualifying 2 on Saturday, he had to start in 15th. He come through the field and couldn't quite catch his teammate, but it shows you how good the Red Bull is. It was won by Sergio Perez, who gained 25 points. Second place, Max Verstappen, 19, 18 and 1 for the fastest lap. And Fernando Alonso 15 for another podium, his second of the season. However, we have a contested penalty and it might mean George Russell is moved up to third place for Mercedes. Max Verstappen leads the standings on 44 points, 1 point clear of his teammate Sergio Perez on 43, and Fernando Alonso is third on 30. Red Bull lead the constructors' standings, already more than double than their opposition, having gained pretty much maximum points apart from 1 fastest lap in round 1. They're on 87 points, and joint second, Aston Martin and Mercedes on 38, with Ferrari nowhere. NBA, and we're coming to the critical part of the season. Some important results. Pelicans 108, Lakers 123, Thunder 121, Nets 107, Trailblazers 107, Knicks 123, Suns 104, Bucks 116, Cavaliers 109, 76ers 118, Timberwolves 102, Celtics 104, Clippers 134, Warriors 126, Pistons 100, Nuggets 119, Nets 96, Kings 101, Bucks 123, Pacers 139, Cavaliers 117, Wizards 94, Trailblazers 112, Celtics 126, Lakers 110, Mavericks 111. That was thrown away by the Lakers in the last 7 seconds. Pacers 121, 76ers 141, Wizards 118, Kings 132, Knicks 116, Nuggets 110, Grizzlies 133, Warriors 119, Jazz 118, Celtics 117, Nets 102, Nuggets 108, Bucks 118, Raptors 111, and Lakers 111, the Magic 105. In the East and the West, as we get down to just about 10 games left of the regular season, as we know, the top 6 of the playoffs, 7 to 10, playoff in a series of games to get 2 spaces in the playoffs. They're called the play-ins. In the East, the Bucks are first team to reach 50 wins. They're 51 and 20. The 76ers have gone into second on 48 and 22, and the Celtics are third on 49 and 23. Cavaliers are fourth on 45 and 28, and the Knicks are 42 and 30. The Nets are 39 and 32. The Heat are 39 and 34. Hawks are 35 and 36. Raptors are 9th, 35 and 37. And the Bulls are 10th, 33 and 37. The West see the Nuggets out in front still, 48 and 24. Kings are second on 43 and 27, tied with the Grizzlies. Suns are 4th, 38 and 33. Clippers, 38 and 34. Mavericks round up the top 6, 36 and 35. Warriors are 7th, 36 and 36. Thunder, 35 and 36. And tied 9th, the Timberwolves and the Lakers, who now find themselves in the top 10 without being tied out of it for the first time this season. Some important fixtures, as we said, with just about 10 games left to run in the regular season. Knicks play the Timberwolves, Grizzlies play the Mavericks, Jazz play the Kings, Nets play the Cavaliers, Kings play the Celtics, Wizards play the Nuggets, Mavericks play the Golden State Warriors, Heat play the Knicks, Bucks play the Spurs, Lakers play the Suns, Magic play the Knicks, Nets versus the Cavs, Celtics versus the Pacers, Jazz versus the Bucks, Kings versus the Suns, Lakers versus the Thunder, Heat versus the Nets, Nuggets versus the Bucks, Celtics versus Spurs, Magic versus the Nets, Pistons versus the Bucks, and the Knicks play the Nuggets. We finish off with football and the Premier League. Matches from last weekend. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle 2, Brentford 1, Leicester 1, Southampton 3, Tottenham 3, Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0, Wolves 2, Leeds 4, Chelsea 2, Everton 2, and Arsenal 4, Crystal Palace 1. The top 4 in the league earn into a 2-week international break. Arsenal played 28, 69 points, going so well at the moment. Man City are second, played 27, 61 points. Manchester United are third, played 26, 50 points. Tottenham are fourth, played 28, 49 points. As we said, it's a 2-week international break. Match day 29's fixtures on the 1st of April. Manchester City versus Liverpool, Bournemouth versus Fulham, Nottingham Forest versus Wolves, Crystal Palace versus Leicester, Arsenal versus Leeds, Brighton versus Brentford, Chelsea versus Aston Villa, West Ham versus Southampton, Newcastle versus Manchester United in the game of the weekend, and Everton versus Tottenham. The reason for a shortened Premier League fixture list this week was the FA Cup quarter-finals. Manchester City 6, Burnley 0, Sheffield United 3, Blackburn 2, Brighton 5, Grimsby 0, Manchester United 3, Fulham 1, in an explosive game that saw Fulham actually outplay Manchester United, dominate possession, deserve to be 1-0 up, and then Manchester United counter-attack, a handball on the line, a definite penalty and a red card, but the Fulham manager decided to get involved and was sent to the stands. Then Willian, who actually handled the ball, was sent off, and then Alexander Mitrovic, who decided to push the referee in protest, was also sent off. So Fulham, after Bruno Fernandes converted the penalty, were left 2 players down, back to 1-1 with no manager. And Manchester United then run riot, 1-3-1, and it could have been more. The semi-final draw sees Manchester City versus Sheffield United and Manchester United versus Brighton. 2 tricky ties, but the Manchester final is still on. The Women's FA Cup saw Lewis lose 3-1 to Manchester United, Birmingham 0, Brighton 2, Reading 1, Chelsea 3, and Aston Villa 2, Manchester City 1. In the shock of the round, and we're waiting the semi-final draw. The WSL is back this week. Everton versus Liverpool, Tottenham versus Arsenal, Manchester United versus West Ham, Manchester City versus Chelsea, Aston Villa versus Leicester, Reading versus Brighton. The top 3 in the WSL see Chelsea out in front, played 14, 37 points. Manchester United and Manchester City are tied second, with Manchester United above them on goal difference. Both played 15, both 35 points. Manchester United has a goal difference of 29, and Manchester City's is 18. That's our SLB Sports Roundup. Well, everyone, that's the end of another brilliant show. We hope you enjoyed our Spanish and Footplan special. 2 professional footballers, both talking about their careers and their hopes for the future. Both represented by Footplan, and both an amazing women. ONA BATTLE from Manchester United and VICKY LOSADA, who's recently moved to AS Roma. I want to say thank you to both of them. Thank you to you, the listeners. You really keep us motivated to bring you good content. And thank you, as always, to Johan, Rafaela and the team at